What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I got to have that Teej pack. Teej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliate and scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Teej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Teej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Teej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Teej pack. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels, and we are back in Studio A, live here from Detroit. I know you guys were used to seeing me over in Vegas, but I am here in Metro Detroit, and I am excited to be here before you today. Let me go ahead and make sure I give a shout out to everybody that's in the chat. I appreciate you. Thank you to all of my bag chasers. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I really, really do hope that you guys are having a phenomenal week and that you're not messing up any bags whatsoever. Shout out to Mel Duke, Kojak, Treese, Chelsea's Live Line, Hustle Travel Eat. Misty Youngblood City is in the building. Reckless Ray De Niro, Persevere Data TV, The Big Podcast, Sarah H., Kevin Hall, Heather Woods, Jack Covington, Lance, AM Dim 9. Shout out to my dog Ash with the first super chat of the day. I appreciate you, Ash. Thank you for continuing to hold me down. Caught a long flight yesterday on my way back here to Metro Detroit. And we really did tear down Vegas. Made a lot of money in Vegas. I was there just to have fun, but made a whole lot of money in Vegas. And we did really, really well as a result of it. Shout out to Ash S80. Good morning, bag chasers and your families. God bless. God bless you too, Ash. And thank you for the 20 ball. I appreciate you. Thank you to all of the super chats and cash apps. I do need to acknowledge some cash apps also. Shout out to Elliot Jackson with the 10 ball. Says, good morning, brother. Morning question. Why do you think that it's so hard for people to invest in themselves, yet so easy to accept the idea of 40 years of working for someone else to live their dream? I'll answer that question specifically. Matter of fact, because I don't pre-plan what it is that I'm going to say on a Millionaire Morning Show, but I do tackle specific subjects, I am going to address that in my morning monologue. Mike, that dude with the 5 ball multiple days in a row. Let me give a shout out to you. Kay Cooper, I appreciate you. Mario Nino, thank you, Mario Nino. Thank you, Melvin Johnson Sr., Brian Horsley. And again, Mike, that dude, Shaquille Brown, Mike Crawford. I appreciate everybody that's holding me down for the Millionaire Morning Show and also on these platforms. But Elliot Jackson, I'm going to address your super chat specifically, okay? But before I do that, let me go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Also, in addition to that, I'd appreciate it if you guys tap into the Patreon. If you are looking to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, that link is in the description. There, we are doing a meetup. I have the exact location that we're going to be meeting up. I had to wait till the morning to make sure we called to see if they can accommodate the amount of people that plans on showing up based off of the response that you guys gave me inside of the Patreon. So that's going to be updated today. You guys can get your hotels for those of you that are flying in. I also have a Patreon exclusive video that I'm working on for you guys. That's going to be absolutely awesome. We got the uncensored interviews in there. Lots going on. Make sure you also hold each other down by tapping into the Discord, and the Discord is actually attached to or it's linked in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. All right. Where's my Rolex? I'm out here looking dusty. Hold on. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put a Rolex in it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Rolly gang. All right. Let's see what's happening today. Shout out to my dog Quentin. Says gonna copyright this super chat. Yo, it's a lot of. I got a crazy show lined up for y'all tomorrow because I plan on having y'all cam up. Shout out to Quentin with the 304 super chat. I appreciate you. Christopher Walker says, good morning, Anton. Just cook. AD, God bless you and the family. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you for the 20 ball also. You are absolutely awesome. Let me address this super chat right here. Elliot Jackson says, good morning, brother. Morning question. Why do you think it's so hard for people to invest in themselves, yet so easy to accept the idea of 40 years of working for someone else to live their dream? I'm going to address that specifically, right? And then we're going to jump into the show. Now, the biggest reason why it's much easier for people to work a regular job, and a lot of times you say for someone else, but they're not working it for someone else. Let me give people a little bit of credit. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. It doesn't matter if you're sweeping the floors or you're in the C-suite working for whatever corporation that you work for. They're not working for someone else. They're working for themselves. All of us are trading in our time, right? Because time is the most valuable asset. Now, let me break this equation down for you, especially for those of you that are new to the Millionaire Morning Show, right? The way that you then actually calculate the time that you have or the amount of money that it costs you to do anything is, for all of my bag chasers and anybody that's been here for an extended period of time, you know that the calculation is 8,760. 876 with a zero on front. 876 with a zero on front, right? 8,760 is the amount of hours in the year, right? And so when you evaluate how much your time is worth, you don't go by how much they pay you on your job, because you also have to leave your job, you have to sleep, you have to go and take care of business, you have sex, you play video games, you do all of these different things on a regular basis, right? And what we like to do is, in order to make ourselves feel good, we give ourselves a dollar value based off of how much we make per hour when we're on the job or when they're paying us at the job. But the reality is that you have a finite amount of time on this earth. So the way that you base how much your time is worth is based off of how many hours in a year. And you divide that into the amount of money that you make and generate from all revenue sources before taxes come out. And you have to do it before taxes because some of us actually understand how to maximize the amount of money that we make prior to giving our money over to the federal government. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But if you're breaking this equation down and you're really, really looking at it, that means if you make $100,000 per year, and I might be off a few cents. That means that your time is worth the equivalent of about $11.60 an hour. That means if you go back and you look at that movie Time with Justin Timberlake, it was a great movie. The concept of the movie was awesome. How poor people operated versus how rich people operated. I love that movie Time with Justin Timberlake, right? Because it showed you that people that had resources, they walked a little bit differently. They had some more confidence. They didn't stress out a little bit more. It also showed you that it wasn't a race war, but it was a class war. Go and watch that movie Time with Justin Timberlake. It's an awesome movie, right? But everybody, and they had the amount of time on their arm or on their hand. I forgot, I haven't watched the movie in a long time. And once you hit a certain age, that time started ticking down. And when you went to work, they gave you more time. The reality is that when you look at the amount of money that we make and the amount of resources that we have, when you go into work every day, you're essentially trading in your time for resources. Meaning that if it takes you, let's say you make $25 an hour. Let's just use a flat number, right? And your meal costs you $25. That means that if you start to calculate how much time it costs you in order to then eat that meal or buy that meal, then that means that that meal costs you an hour of your life, not an hour of your time. Remember, we have a finite amount of time on this earth, so none of us knows what the expiration date is, but everybody knows that we're going to die someday. And then the time that you use or you utilize to get more resources, spend with other people, fuck up, you go to jail for an extended period of it, whatever it is, you traded in your time for that resource, and how much it cost you, there's a real number attached to it, because that's how universally we're able to communicate, is through mathematics. That's why mathematics is so important, especially to the majority of the people that don't even understand why they need to embrace mathematics, because then you can start to substantiate exactly how much it's costing you to spend time with people that don't have any value in your life. So when you standing on a corner, or you sitting here arguing back and forth with people that don't add any value to you, or when you spending it with women that don't ever even really care for you, or let's say you're a person of resources and you decide to spend a bunch of money on dinner. Remember, if that dinner costs $200, let's say you took her to Ruth Chris, you took her to Benny Han. You know, the little girls with the baby hairs, they like Benny Han, right? Let's say you took her to Benny Han and Ruth Chris, and y'all had drinks or whatever. Let's say you spent $200 on dinner. But let's say you make the equivalent of 25. Let's say you make $40 an hour. You make $40 an hour. Cool. That means it costs you 5 hours of your life to then trade in another 2 hours of your life to then take her out to dinner. If you make $40 an hour on your job. But let's say you make $100,000 a year, right? If that dinner costs $200 and your time is really worth $11.60 an hour, because $100,000 a year is the equivalent of about $11.60 an hour, or $11.60 an hour. That means it took you 19 hours of your life. Remember this, and this will give you a completely different perspective. It took you about 18 to 19 hours of your life to then entertain her. And then it took you another 2 hours to actually do it. So the cost of that dinner was really about 22 to 23 hours. Let's just say you taking this woman out, it cost you a whole day of your life. If your time, do the calculations, 8,760 hours in a year, how much you make per year, let's say you a six-figure man, that means it took you a day of your life. You traded in a day of your life to take her out to dinner to Ruth Chris or Benny Han. It changes the whole perspective. That's why I say we over at the Bag Chasers and the Patreon members, we can look at life differently. We look at marriage differently. We look at everything from a business perspective, because it can be broken down mathematically as to how it is that you're spending your time around people that don't value you. So let's just say you go over there and you buy her a drink, right? And her drink costs $11.60. She drinking something that's not really that big of a deal, because she may be drinking Louis XIII, right? Or she may be drinking Wolf of Reserve. If her drink costs $11.60 an hour, or $11.60, and that ain't even including tip, that would mean that you traded in an hour of your life in order to be able to buy her a drink. Changes everything, doesn't it? Changes everything, does it? Let's break it back down. Let's say you start to become more valuable. Let's say you become a bag chaser. Let's say you start making a whole lot of money, right? Let's say you make the equivalent of $500,000 a year. Let's do the math, right? If you make $500,000 a year, then that means your time will be worth the equivalent of 6 times 5. Your time is worth $58 an hour. If you make $500,000 a year, your time is worth $58 an hour, right? Now, let's say your time is worth $58 an hour. That means when you sleeping, when you wake, when you going to chase a bag, when you go to work, when you spending time with your wife, whatever it is, right? Now, you sitting and you chilling in the hood, hanging around dudes that don't give a fuck about you. Is it worth $58 for an hour of it, of spending their time around them? Is it worth $58? Let's say you out here playing video games, right? Because the way that people look at their time when you have resources is much different than when you don't give a fuck and you won't make that much money. Let's say you make $500,000 a year, which costs you the equivalent of $58 an hour, right? And you won't Call of Duty. Now, everybody know that when you play video games, that time just goes by. A clan match, whatever. You sit there and you on there for 5 hours straight. Some dudes is putting in 8-hour shifts. Let's multiply it times 8. That means that if you made $500,000 a year, then it cost you $464 to put in a shift and playing video games, but you got no return on your money. Think about that for a minute. That's why I don't waste time doing stuff with people that I don't give a fuck about. That's why it's so important for me to surround myself with the right people. That's why when you do coaching calls, I charge my corporate clients more than $500 an hour, because that's how we charge when it comes to, looking at things from a business perspective. But I don't charge you that much, right? And I even had to cut off the amount of people that I'm taking in for the next couple months, because I have to make sure that you substantiate my time. I'm not just going to give it to you for free when I'm worth this amount of money. I'm not going to charge you what I charge my corporate clients, but at the same time, you're going to have to respect my time, because I don't make money from having a conversation with you. But at the same time, when you extracting millions of dollars worth of value, at the very least, you can respect my time. So the rate that you get is based off of that number. It's not based off of how much money I would charge my corporate clients. It's not based off of profitability. It's based off of the fact that I have a finite amount of time. I have a real calculation of what an hour of my time is worth in real life. And I have to make sure that I'm using it and utilizing it properly around the people that actually value what it is that I do. Otherwise, I could be spending it going to get another bag. I could be spending it with my daughter. I could be spending it with my wife. I don't know what my expiration date is, right? And so to come back to your question, Elliot, why do people, or why would they rather spend time just working regularly in order versus actually reinvesting in themselves? Is because they don't understand the concept of valuing their time. They don't understand what it takes in order to increase the value of their time. They don't understand that if you spending time around him, then you actually losing your life. You're losing the most precious thing that you have in your life because of your inability to really value who it is that you are. You don't understand that you a king. If you understood that you was a king, then you would do king shit. Right? You would have a longer term view towards what it took in order to be successful, because you understood. See, let me tell you the difference between a doctor and a janitor. Now, there's nothing wrong with a janitor, right? But the difference in the thinking between the two is vast. The difference in thinking between those that champion pro-black and black culture versus people that understand that it's a class war, not a cultural war, is vast, right? And the difference is the doctor is willing to endure long enough to get to the end because they understand that the bag is significantly greater on the end, which they can then compound the results of what life is supposed to be like when it comes to living on a. They're willing to sacrifice this 8 years right here in order to live the rest of their life like a king, right? Versus the person that's just want to go to work to get a paycheck and then they're going to ask for forgiveness from Biden for student loans that may or may not come. They don't value their time as much because the only thing that they're trying to do is look at what's directly in front of them instead of having a foresight of what it takes in order to be successful long term. The beautiful thing for you, though, is, let's break it down. The beautiful thing for you, though, is because you're in an elite group of people that hear this message, that is a part of the bag chasers, that is a part of the Patreon, that actually move in a direction that you're supposed to go in with a group of people that value your time. The Bible says there will always be poor among us. And this actually goes straight into what it is that we're going to talk about today with regard to Trump, with regard to Jonathan Majors, so on and so forth, right? I'm reading y'all super chat shortly. The Bible said that there's always going to be poor among us. There's hell enlargeth itself, which means that the majority, the overwhelming majority of people will not be successful. They will go to hell. They will just be regular, when in reality, regular was created in order to make you feel good about your circumstances, because even God said, I'd rather you be hot or cold, but I spit lukewarm out of my mouth. He don't want nobody in the middle. He don't want nobody on the fence. He either wants you to be yay or nay. You better off being nay than you are being in the middle, because that means that you have no true understanding of where you at in this whole spectrum of life. You don't understand that you are on the tail end or on the bottom end, and they just trying to make you feel good because you're the best of the last. Being in the middle is the best of the last. This is my mentality. This is what I've always been taught. You just the first loser. Being in the middle, although we may respect them because they handle our food and they sweep our floors and they lay our roofs, but you are the best of the last. You are the first loser. You are the first person to come into the loser's bracket to cross that line. Because winners understand that it ain't no middle. It ain't no participation trophies. It ain't no ha ha ha, I love you. It's either you won or you lost. Either you going to hell or you going to heaven. And the minute that you understand that, that means that you're going to start valuing your time differently. You're going to start spending it around people that actually value it differently. You're not going to do anything that does not add value into your life. You're not going to be around people that don't add value into your life. You're not going to travel into places that then put you in danger. You're not going to spend your time around women that don't actually that are not wives. You're not going to be busting down chicks just randomly. You're going to start valuing your time differently. And then the people that's around you are going to add value into it, and then vice versa. And that's the difference between people that rather work the 40 for the rest of their life just so they can retire and die at the end of it, versus the people that actually value their time. That's the difference. That's the difference. I don't know what I'm going to say today. I don't know who's going to ask me a question or who's going to super chat. And the only thing I can tell you is the truth. I'm not trying to be here to make you feel good. I'm not trying to have you be the first loser. I'm trying to have you be a winner. Yes, you can work your 40, 50 years, retire. Retirement age is going to continue to go up. You can retire at 72 and then die at 74. You can work your whole life to live 2 years, or you can sacrifice the first 10 in order to live the rest of your life the way you want to. You make the decision. You make the decision. You can choose not to wear rubber now and then live with HIV and AIDS and hope that they come up with a cure for the rest of your life, or you can make the decision to get married and do it the right way and then be able to raise your kids, because your unborn kids actually need you to do the thing that's in their best interest. You can fly coach or you can fly first class. It's a difference. Or you can fly Delta One. It's a huge difference, right? When we pay this type of money for our flights, we're not paying because we give a fuck about the money that come along with it. It's because we was able to buy our time back, and we understand that the comforts and the creature comforts and the ability for us to be working more efficiently actually adds more value into our life long term with regard to how it is that we value our time. We look at it differently. Rewind the stream. Rewind the stream. We're not going to re-break it down. Rewind the stream. We're not going to re-break. It ain't nobody doing what we do on the Millionaire Morning Show. They don't teach you this over at Dave Ramsey. Shout out to Dave Ramsey and the Baby Steps. He helped a lot of y'all get out of debt, baby steps, all of that other type of stuff, save $1,000. That's cool. That's cute. This is a whole nother league. This is a whole nother level that we talking about. We talking about everything that we do is meaningful on this earth. Shout out to Anthony O'Neill. They don't talk like us over there. We see students. We break it down from a C student's perspective so that you can actually use it and apply it to your life, and then you can go to that next level. We do it differently over. Don't nobody do what we do on the Millionaire Morning Show. There is no show on regular TV or YouTube that talk the way that we talk it. We look at it differently. It is what it is. Take it how you want to. Let me read some of these super chats. Shout out to Mr. Youngblood City, says showing love with the 20 ball. Thank you, Mr. Youngblood City. I appreciate you. Spaces says the time was on their forearm. Oh, yeah, it was on their forearm. Amazing movie. Not their arm. I appreciate that, Spaces. Thanks for the clarification. Y'all need to go and watch that Justin Timberlake. After you've watched and heard me say what it is that I've done, after you've watched and heard me say what I've just told you right now, you're going to look at that movie completely different. You are supposed to be looking at everything that you take in, from the things that you hear, the people you surround yourself with, and the movies that you watch, completely different after you rocking with me. Darius Davenport says, good morning, Anton. I've been watching you for a while, and you've inspired me to become a part of the Bag Chasers 420. Shout out to my 420. You ain't smoking. You smoking on that green paper, not that green paper. You know what I'm saying? 42023, time to lock in. Much love. Shout out to Darius Davenport. Let me also give a shout out to the Big Podcast. Says, what up, Tom? Been using some of your YouTube game, and we're steadily improving. Do you think there will still be a shift in positive content with the rough times ahead? I think there's a shift coming. What do you mean a shift in positive content? Thank you for the 10 ball. I'm assuming that you're saying that there will be more people that talk positively. I don't know. You got to give me a little bit more clarification on that. Elliot Jackson says, learn more from that monologue that I can apply to my real life than I did from my bachelor's and master's. I appreciate you explaining that. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for holding me down, Elliot Jackson. Let's get into the show, ladies and gentlemen. I will be reading super chats throughout the show. Thank you to everybody that supports the platform. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get into the show, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Majors in the building. So on top of my game, I'm coming in through the ceiling. Jonathan Majors is in the building, y'all. And John is tired of taking these hoes to Benny Han. You know what I'm saying? Ton is saying that John, shout out to Mr. Harris, reading your super chat soon. Your super chat soon. Ton is saying that John is tired of taking these hoes to Benny Han. Now, what am I saying over here, right? I'm sure Dr. Umar Johnson will be addressing this soon, especially as it relates to alleged snow bunnies. I'm not sure who John is dating or why he did not make them move accordingly around him. But Jonathan Majors, let me go ahead and read the article for you guys, and I'm going to bring you up to date on what's going on. A lot of y'all are familiar with the idea that Mr. John is on the cancel table. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure who he pissed off. I'm not sure why it is that they're coming after him specifically. He is one of the foremost people in Hollywood that obviously is on the come up. Great actor. I think he graduated from Yale. Even his acting coach came and congratulated him. I watched him in Creed 3. So Kang the Conqueror is no longer King the Conqueror. They even trying to replace him in that. But we going to get into it. We definitely going to get into it today. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys because I want you to see what's happening with John and the fallout happening with him specifically. All right. So more women are coming into the space trying to cancel Jonathan Majors, right? The domestic violence that he allegedly, I don't believe that it was anything to it, but the domestic violence that he allegedly experienced with regard to dealing with his girlfriend that she accused him of has now been extended, right? And there's more women that are coming out of the woodwork that is saying John is being distanced from. Specifically, let's read the article. It says, no wonder people in the entertainment industry are distancing themselves from Jonathan Majors. More alleged victims have come forward and cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The DA's office isn't commenting. Jonathan Majors is innocent and has not abused anyone, the actor's criminal defense attorney says. We have provided irrefutable evidence to the district attorney that the charges are false, and we are confident that he will be fully exonerated. Now, here's the thing, though, about that, okay? If you want to kill somebody, you don't have to take their life, okay? I've learned a long time ago in chess that you're better off breaking somebody's spirit if you don't defeat them fast, right? If you know you can beat somebody and you know you can destroy them or you got an enemy, you don't come after them and just go directly at them. You indirectly kill their reputation first and their ability to be able to earn, which then makes them suffer, and then it's worse off than ever, right? And so what would you think it would be like to work your entire life? You went to acting school. You finally getting your big break. You in the gym every single day. You in No Love Country. You King the Conqueror. You killing every single thing, right? And regardless of whether or not they can prove him to be guilty or not, which I don't believe that he's guilty at all. I believe that this is a hit. I believe in the process of innocence before until proven guilty, not the other way around. But in this social media age, it's different now. Because regardless of whether you go to jail or not, your inability to earn or you losing opportunities is like going to jail. If you ever want to touch a man, then you got to touch his pockets. If you ever want to touch a man, then you got to touch his pockets. Let's continue. It says that it's been more than 3 weeks since Jonathan Majors was arrested for an alleged domestic dispute, but the 33-year-old, he only 33, y'all. 33-year-old man, he got his whole life ahead of him, a whole another 50 years. Career is starting to take a hit. Majors, one of Hollywood's hottest young stars, was dropped by his manager and publicist on Monday. Yahoo can confirm. Considering the actor's first court date is still weeks away, the timing seemingly signals more fallout to come. The relationships between a client and their agent and publicist are ones that needs to be built on honesty and trust. So this signals to me that the talent team has learned information that goes against the professional mission and will inhibit them from having a working relationship moving forward. I'm going to need y'all to go ahead and take the Anton Daniels reading class because my ability to be able to bring forth life through these words on this screen is impeccable. Let's continue. Oh, shoot. Shoot. Look at me. As soon as I start talking junk, I start getting in my bag. I start messing up my screen. All right, let's continue. Majors was arrested on March 25th for allegedly attacking a 30-year-old female. A lawyer for Marvel star previously told Yahoo completely denies assaulting the woman, and she expects her client will be cleared of assault and harassment charges. But it seems some in the industry don't want to wait until May 8th when Majors is expected to appear in court to find out. Interesting. On Tuesday, Majors has been axed from multiple projects. Now, it's nothing like taking a man's money in order to try to emasculate him. There's nothing worse than removing a man's ability to be able to provide for himself that will be emasculating. Actor was set to star and executive produce The Man in My Basement. So he was going the same way as Michael B. Jordan. He was about to start to act and produce and then possibly get into the directing seat. The Man in My Basement alongside William Dafoe. But Al has been dropped. Protagonist Pictures did not respond to Yahoo's request for comment. He's also been cut from a Texas Rangers MLB ad campaign that was going to debut on Friday and is no longer in consideration to star in the Otis Redding movie. 2023 was shaping up to be a year for Majors, and the Lovecraft Country scene stealer starred in the box office hits Creed and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He reprises his role as Kang the Conqueror in Disney's Loki Season 2, which has already been shot. His future in the MCU is unclear, and a rep from Marvel did not return requests from comment. Plus, the Yale University grad. Think about that, y'all. Yale University graduate. This man did it the right way. He ain't take no shortcuts. He ain't get no breaks. He went and took care of his business. He acts. He sing. He could do his thing. Yale University graduate. Generating Oscar buzz for his performance in Magazine Dreams, which blew away audiences at the Sundance Film Festival. This guy can't miss. He can't miss. He came every single thing that he was in. He took over. He became the star. He changed the movie and the dynamic of it in the whole 9 yards, and he can't miss. It's already generating Oscar buzz for his performance in Magazine Dreams, which blew away audiences. Despite being one of Hollywood's it actors, he likely faces an uphill battle amid his legal troubles. Let me show you the different roles that they saying that he lost. Let me switch over for a second. This is everything Jonathan Majors has been dropped from. Everything he's been dropped from that we know of up to this point. He lost his management team. Majors was reportedly dropped from his management team at Entertainment 360 and his PR team at the lead company. Vulture has reached out to both for statements. Majors continues to be represented by WME. According to an April 19th Variety story, his lawyer's husband is currently acting as crisis PR. He got to get his lawyer's husband. So he has a woman lawyer, and her husband is now acting as his crisis PR. Film and television roles. Several projects in development has been dropped Majors from their cast, according to Deadline. Magazine Dreams. Actor will no longer star in a film adaptation of the Walter Mosley novel, The Man in My Basement, or be considered for an unannounced 5th season's Otis Redding biopic. Otis and Zelma. As for the projects his name is still attached to: Avengers, The Kang Dynasty in 2025, Loki Season 2, which has already been shot, Spike Lee's The Understudy, Lionsgate's 48 Hours in Vegas, in which he would play Dennis Rodman. Now, you know that's going to be a good movie. He's lost brand deals. Within the first weeks after Majors' arrest, the U.S. Army postponed a campaign featuring Majors. MLB's Texas Rangers removed Majors from the 2023 season ad campaign that was reportedly set to debut on Friday. As for the already announced endeavors, Valentino and Majors have also mutually agreed that the actor will no longer attend this year's Met Gala. He's losing the bag, man. He's losing the bag. Now, let me see something really quickly. Let me see something really quickly. Say he has not abused anyone. He completely denies assaulting the woman. But apparently it's like 8 new women that has come out against Kang the Conqueror. I will say this, though. About Kang the Conqueror. There's no better way and no easier way, and I've been telling y'all this for an extended period of time now. There's no easier way for a man to then be taken down You can't take him down on the battlefield. You can't take him down with regard to his talent. You can't take him down with regard to anything that he has going on in his life. The easiest way to do it, all you got to do is go and find a woman. Allegedly, 8 new women they went and found. 8 new women that they went and found, allegedly. There's no easier way to take a man down than to do it through women. This is crazy. But then the Los Angeles Times, check it out. I gotta show this article to y'all really quickly. Check out this Los Angeles Times article. Jonathan Majors' attorney says the accuser appears to be unhurt in a video taken just after the alleged attack. Oh, man. Attorney for the embattled actor who was arrested last month on suspicion of assault, charged with misdemeanors a day later, has filed evidence with the New York court that appears to show the accuser uninjured, out on the town, partying ways after parting ways with the Creed 3 star the night before the alleged incident. This is crazy. So they accuse him and then she went out party. Contrary to the charges Majors faces, Chaudhry alleges in the filming after attacking her client and tearing his clothes between midnight and 1 a.m. on March 25th, the accuser went clubbing, got drunk, sent Majors angry text messages accusing him of infidelity, and sent a suicide note to Mr. Majors, took a bunch of sleeping pills, and then 11 hours later was found alone in a locked bedroom, unconscious on the floor of a closet with a cut behind her ear and a broken finger. We have provided irrefutable evidence to the district attorney that the charges are false. We are confident that he will be fully exonerated. Stills taken from a security camera footage and submitted to the court appear to show the accuser at the bar, DJ booth, and hostess stand of Lucy's nightclub at the Moxie Lower East Side Hotel between 1:55 a.m. and 3:06 a.m. $800 champagne purchase during that time. Hold on. That the accuser allegedly charged to Major's credit card without permission. Security stills show the accuser at the bar with 2 uninjured hands as she sorts through credit cards and signs receipts. They also show her with uninjured hands at the hostess stand and the DJ booth. Separate security video from an elevator car appears to show the accuser Now, this is the Los Angeles Times. This ain't no rinky-dink site or anything like that. This is the Los Angeles Times. Check it out. Separate security video from an elevator car appears to show the accuser uninjured around 3:25 a.m. The letter says that the video from the nightclub shows the woman brushing hair behind an uninjured ear, which the accuser says Majors lacerated. Chaudhry told the court that the driver of a car where the two allegedly fought would testify that it was the accuser who attacked Majors that night, begged him to get back in the car after he got out, then resumed violent attempts to take Majors' phone away. And apparently this is all because she thought he was cheating on her. Well, first and foremost, let's set the record straight. It ain't no such thing as cheating if you ain't married. Shout out to Roger Marine. And also shout out to D Webb. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. This is stupid. It's no reason that they should be putting this man's career on hold and that he should be losing the bag over these funky hoes. According to Chaudhry, Majors again jumped out of the car and ran away, witnessed by the driver and 3 people standing in the street, then hailed a taxi and went to a hotel. The letter says he didn't see the accuser until after 11 a.m. when he returned home and called the handyman to unlock his bedroom door. Once inside, the letter says Majors found the woman unconscious on the floor of the closet. Oh, he dealing with a crazy hoe. Chaudhry wrote to the court that we are hopeful that the district attorney's office will move quickly to dismiss the case. Majors was arrested on March 25th after police responded to a 911 call from a New York City apartment building. He was arraigned the following day. The NYPD said in a statement that Majors was involved in a domestic dispute with a 30-year-old woman who told police she was assaulted. Nope. This is crazy. Be careful of the company. See, a lot of y'all keep saying stuff like, Anton, you should feel some type of way from falling out with certain people and stuff like that. Why should I? I say that God been protecting me my entire life, and he's doing no different now. Because I have never, ever found myself in a situation where any woman can ever say anything about me. And that's why I specifically do not believe. I don't believe any of this MeToo junk. I don't believe any of it. I absolutely do not believe it. I'm about to read Super Chats shortly, Lucid Experience. I don't believe any of it. I don't believe. Listen. Think about it like this, y'all. There was a time where we didn't even have this type of technology. We didn't have cameras. There's guys getting out of jail today, just based purely off the accusation. And then we now have the Me Too movement where they saying believe all women. Believe all women. Just purely based, we seen what happened with the Duke lacrosse team, and in which the young black woman accused the Duke lacrosse team. They lost all their scholarships. They lost everything. They lost their reputations and all of that, all because she lied and nothing happened to her. We seen what happened with Johnny Depp. He probably lost $100 million from all of the different opportunities that he had on the table that he then lost as a result of her accusations. There's countless men getting out of jail every single day. How many more examples do we need before we start to do something in society and we stop preventing these people from getting Me Too'd? I don't care if it's 100 different people that come up and lie. Anybody can say anything, and the whole fabric of this country is supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but everything just... If you want to kill somebody, you just kill their name, you kill their reputation, especially if you're a man. Y'all laughed at Mike Pence. Y'all laughed, y'all thought that Mike Pence was a cornball, but let me tell you something. You may not like Mike Pence's stance, you may not like his politics, you may not like how it is that he operates behind the scenes or whatever like that, but the one thing that I know, and two things is for certain, is that Mike Pence ain't getting caught up with no hoes. Of all the things that you can get caught up in, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, 19 times out of 20, 49 times out of 50, 99 out of 100, it is going to be a woman that take you down. Of everything that happened, for every great society, for every empire that has fallen, it was over some pussy. I'm telling you. For every empire that has fallen, it has all fallen as a result of you aligning yourself with somebody that is a chameleon. Chameleons. Go ahead. Y'all keep getting with all of these different chicks that's for the streets. Keep on swiping left, swiping right. Do your thing. Keep on shooting your shot on the Instagram. That shit gonna come back to haunt you. It's gonna come back to haunt you. Go ahead. Think that you are doing something better because you got it in vanish mode. You think you got it in vanish mode. My father told me, and I had this conversation with y'all before, nothing is more important, not one thing on this earth, and never put any woman over your bag. Never put any woman over your back. You seen it in the Bible. She cut Samson's hair off. I see you in the chat. She cut Samson's hair off. Brad Pitt with Troy, the unsatisfied guy, is saying. Brad Pitt with Troy. Every single movie, it always happened. No. I'm going to do you one better. It wasn't even Brad Pitt and Troy. You never would have had a war. You never would have had a war if the homie's little brother wasn't fucking my man's wife. Y'all missed it. Forget the Brad Pitt and Troy part. Forget the priestess. What about my man that was busting down his woman, and how many other dudes had to die because they went to war as a result of the young prince unable to not sleep with another man's wife? Fuck the Brad Pitt part. Brad Pitt should have never been at war in the first place. He was supposed to have a lot of children. Real talk. He was supposed to be having a lot of children. They never was supposed to be at war in the first place. Shout out to Brian Horsley with the 10 ball. I appreciate you for the Cash App. Shout out to Brian Horsley. How many different women, and again, y'all, we don't always know. We don't always know. But you got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Because I'm telling you that it will be, and it ain't just black women, it's white women, it's Asian women, they all doing it. They all modern. They all modern. They all modern. You can work your whole life. You can be great your whole life. You can build an entire empire, and it would all come crumbling down just because of an accusation. Think of how many men died in prison because of an accusation. Do you know how many people are getting released because of the Innocence Project? Because now we have DNA evidence that actually proves that men was not even some of the people that did some of these crimes or assaulted this woman. Thank God that we got technology in which we can actually record stuff, and we got cameras and stuff like that. And still, even if you are innocent, they kill your reputation before you ever go to trial. I've been warning y'all. Let me read some of these super chats. Shout out to Jonathan Majors. We got your back, big dog. I'm going to see every movie that Jonathan Majors is in. I'm going to put Lovecraft Country on Netflix tonight, and I'm not even going to watch it. I'm going to just let it play. Mr. Harris is in the building. Says, good morning, Mr. Daniels. I'm a huge Coach Gang member. Just saw your streams. You got the sauce. The sauce. I'm tired of living out of my car, soon to be a bag chaser. Mr. Harris, you got this, bro. Living in your car is not a bad thing. It is a humbling experience that teaches you resilience. And you will be looking back at that moment to then say, I'm glad that I had went through that in order to get to the space that I'm in now, because I can truly appreciate how much I've grown. Shout out to Mr. Harris for the 20 ball, and I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Roger Marine with the 2 ball says that Snow Bunny coochie is overvalued. Agreed. I think that all coochie is overvalued. D-Web says, salute, big dog. Question, how can I effectively save money to use towards a first property purchase, 3.5% down if a savings account can't beat inflation? Also, richest man in Babylon, mind blown. Here's what I would say. I would say that you stay away from the 3.5%. The biggest thing is not the savings account. The biggest thing that most people I see experience where they have the problems as far as getting the money together to be able to make the purchase, because I always advocate for at least 20%. I always advocate for at least a 15-year mortgage, not a 30. They got 40-year mortgages now. But I also advocate for you to absolutely positively lower your lifestyle. I remember when my 2 brothers, because my 2 brothers is older than me, they 6 or 7 years older than me, and they were going to buy their first house, right? And so I was young. I was still in high school or whatever, and they were renting out a place with my uncle, and they were paying like half of his mortgage or whatever. And my parents was like, hey, we all just going to move back into the crib. Let's go back to the streets. And my 2 older brothers, and they had wives and stuff, and they was like, what? They had wives, they had little babies, all of that, right? And I remember this like yesterday. And we was at 20214 Green Lawn. It was literally like a 2 to 3 bedroom house. They had turned the attic into a bedroom. And it was 2 bedrooms on the main floor, and then we had the basement. And it was like, skip that. We all piling back into the crib. My dad and my mom said, hey, move back in. The house is paid for. Yeah, it ain't no big house or whatever, but we all just going to figure that shit out. We going to have a good time. We going to party, and we going to stack it up. And so my brothers moved back into the house, and they stayed there for a year, and then they saved up, and then they bought their first homes. They saved up the amount of money. They paid way more than 20%. And then they bought their first home. And so I always say, don't be afraid to get back in the mud, man. Don't be afraid to get back in the mud. When my parents, my mother had got really, really sick. A lot of people aren't familiar with this. My mother had got really, really sick. And this was right before my father passed away in 2017. One of the reasons why we had moved where we had moved in, because if you look at a lot of my older videos, I was staying in a huge house. It was just me, my wife, and my daughter, right? My daughter was really, really young. And then I had got a new job. And that's when I started really, really killing it and getting to the bag in corporate America. But we wind up moving next to my parents so that we can make sure that we took care of them, right? A lot of people, they let that ego, they let the perception of what wealth is supposed to look like get in the way of what success really is. We moved literally two doors down from my parents in order to make sure that my mother and my father was taken care of, right? And as a result, we also lowered our expenses, and the rent at the place, even though we still had property and we had real estate and everything like that, the rent at the place that we was paying at was less than $800 a month. It was less than $800 a month. And then it's funny because I thought that was after we didn't start paying rent at the place that we was paying rent at until after my father passed away, because my father wound up being the maintenance, being the head of maintenance at the facility or at the entire apartment place that we used to live at. So the place that I lived at, back a long time ago, back when I was staying 2 doors down from my parents, we were living there for free. We were living there for free. It wasn't until my father passed away until I started evaluating the possibility, okay, we're going to go ahead and spend some money and we're going to spread our wings, because we want every single piece or every resource that we have to go be back reinvested back into our assets. We didn't want to trade in our time for money and then start to, go back and start spending money and paying taxes so that we can pay to live the life that everybody else thought that we was living. We was living great. Our life was phenomenal until my father passed away. Until like a year after my father passed away, we lived with zero expenses when it came to housing up until my father passed away. Because we took advantage of the circumstances. And when my father said, yeah, I'm head of maintenance at this facility, and he said, yo, we got a place that's coming open 2 doors down, and my mom was sick, and I'm like, yo, this would be much easier because my wife doesn't work. And, it'd be much easier for her to be able to get back and forth to go over there and see what's going on with my mom if anything ever happens. My wife didn't work. We was living for free. And so to answer your question specifically, I believe that y'all have to spend more time cutting your expenses. Spend more time. Y'all got car notes, insurance. Y'all living this life that y'all can't afford. You paying a bunch of money for your rent. Go back and move with your fucking parents, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s. Who cares? Stack that cheese up and then go and pay cash for the thing that you absolutely want. So many people are spending time trying to prove something to somebody else. Oh man, I drive a BMW. It's a fucking 3 Series. Ain't nothing wrong with a BMW 3 Series, but then what? Pay cash for your stuff. And then when you pay cash for it, join the bag chasers so I can show you how to hide it from the general public so that they're not able to look at the properties that you own. Come on, man. Let's focus. Let me read some more of these super chats, see what's happening out here in these streets. D-Web said, oh yeah, I read that one. So hopefully I answered your question. Cliff Williams says they unleashed a squad of white she-devils. Lucid Experiences in the building says, I find it interesting how women who loved him immediately turned their allegiance on him so quick without any definitive proof, just off of allegations. Facts. Philip Sadiq's with the 10 ball. I appreciate you. Bahiyudin. Hopefully I'm saying that right. What's your perspective on the 787.5 million, and how will it affect truth telling in the media? Also, how many more days do you think Fox News has? So I think that you're talking about specifically Facebook. Facebook, 700 and something million if you were on Facebook. I plan on covering it tomorrow, so it's going to be absolutely a great show, and I'm going to let y'all jump up on the panel to be able to give me y'all opinions also. But thank you for the 10 ball. And then Cliff Williams says, Legolas caused that war. Talking about the Achilles and all of that. HLC Jr. says, I agree, Anton, especially be careful with the women you work with. I got all women that work with me. Blaze Skywalker's in the building, says, what up, though? Shout out to my Detroit brethren. Can you expedite my coaching call? May 11th. Need to know how to invest this new money I'm making, bro. Just hold on. Be patient. Just be patient. I got you, Blaze Skywalker. I got you. Tazi with the 100 ball says, the wife you pick will be one of the biggest decisions you make in your life. The wrong woman, the wrong one night stand can tear a whole kingdom down. Respect to you, Anton. The bag got bigger for me in 2023. Shout out to all of my bag chasers. Can we get a round of applause to everybody that's running that checkup? Can we get a round of applause for everybody that's running that checkup, including Tazi with that 100 ball? Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat for y'all to be able to tap into the Patreon. We're gonna deal with Fox and Facebook tomorrow. It's gonna be a heck of a show. We're going to deal with Fox and Facebook tomorrow. Thank you, Tazi, and thank you to everybody that contributes to the platform. I appreciate you. I love you. I think that you guys are the greatest ever. The greatest ever. Shout out to Roger Marine. Roger Marine says, paid off a house in 3 years, car paid for, 0 debt. Shout out to Roger Marine getting that bag with that car paid for, 0 debt, running that checkup. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. Homelessness. Trump has recently came out with a plan that I have not yet watched for how it was that he's going to solve for homelessness. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Let's run up this check, y'all.
Our once great cities have become unlivable, unsanitary nightmares, surrendered to the homeless, the drug addicted, and the violent and dangerously deranged. We're making many suffer for the whims of a deeply unwell few, and they are unwell indeed. The homeless have no right to turn every park and sidewalk into a place for them to squat and do drugs. Americans should not have to step over piles of needles and waste as they walk down a street. Beautiful.
Now, I will say this. You got to love Trump, man. Shout out to Xavier reading Super Chat shortly. You got to love Trump, man. You got to love it. Now, I'm going to give you the C student's perspective from the person on the street. My passion project was homelessness. And the interesting thing about homelessness is most people don't really see the face of homelessness. They experience it. And when I say experience it, you experience it at times when it's least expected or is least conducive for what it is that you're trying to do. So, for example, you may be going out to dinner, you may be downtown, you may be pulling up off of a freeway, and you experience somebody that walked past you or jump in an elevator and they smell like crazy. Or, you know, I walked past a dude over in Vegas and he was just straight up smoking crack right in front of my face. Elliot Jackson, I appreciate you. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. But the face of homelessness is not entirely how it's being painted, although he is correct, right? The face of homelessness is often at times you guys. Not saying that you guys are homeless, but I'm saying that there's a majority of people that are one paycheck away or one medical bill or one life event and somebody passing away of really being homeless. I seen a woman and her 3 kids homeless because her man didn't have any kind of life insurance and he wasn't taking care of business because they was living check to check and they was trying to keep up with the Joneses. I seen a guy go homeless because he landed in a hospital. His job didn't save his job for him because they had to continue to operate and he was never able to really recover and get back on his feet because he had fell into a deep, dark depression. I've seen the drug addicted. I've seen whole families inside of the homeless shelter. I fed whole families, right? The face of homelessness often at times start, not all the time, but often at times start with somebody not truly understanding how money works not making smart decisions, and then they may work hard, but it then translated into them being on the street as a result of them not having the resources, the support, or the insight and information on how to really be able to maintain a lifestyle, right? And so Trump is right. Every single city that I've went to, including Vegas, Los Angeles, DC, every major city that I've went to, I've seen homeless camps. If you go out to Los Angeles, you see them all across the freeway. You can see them when I walk down Skid Row, right? People are living out of their cars. Now it's a big thing on YouTube. It's a whole culture around van life, right? They've turned what was supposed to be your ability to be able to get back and forth into a whole lifestyle because most people are trying to understand how to live in their cars. Van life, they call it. People are trying to understand how they can buy old buses and turn them into homes to where they can just drive wherever it is that they want to drive. I see more people investing in mobile home parks. I know somebody that I'm a coach, and they give me, they get a lot of insight from me on how it is that they can expand their mobile home park empire, right? But the face of homelessness is more than just what it is that you see on the street. But if you go down Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia, he is absolutely positively correct. All right, let's continue.
Beautiful city, or at least once beautiful city, because they've changed so much over the last 10 years. Our first consideration should be the rights and safety of the hardworking, law-abiding citizens who make our society function. When I'm back in the White House, we will use every tool, lever, and authority to get the homeless off our streets. We want to take care of them, but they have to be off our streets. There is nothing compassionate about letting these individuals live in filth and squalor rather than getting them the help that they need. We need professionals to help them. For a small fraction of what we spend upon Ukraine, we could take care of every homeless veteran in America. Our veterans are being treated horribly. Likewise, with all of the money we will save by ending mass unskilled migration, we will have a huge dividend to address this crisis in our own country. Under my strategy, working with states, we will ban urban camping wherever possible.
He said urban migration. Unskilled urban migration. I don't know what he means by that. Is he talking about immigrants coming over? Unskilled urban migration. I have to assume that he's talking about people coming into this country that does not add value into what it is that we're doing in the fabric of America. They're just coming here to seek opportunities. You know where I went to that I was incredibly surprised. I actually went and visited there because my daughter had a Taekwondo tournament there. And we went and visited Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we went over to the Twin Cities, right? And the Twin Cities had a crazy demographic of people in Mixing Bowl. They had a huge Somali population. When you went over to the mall, I think it was like the Mall of America, and we went over in the summer, and the way that Minneapolis is built is pretty crazy because it gets so cold there in the winter that they have it to where you can walk from building to building, and all of the buildings are interconnected so that you never have to walk outside when you're going downtown. But they had this crazy Somali population. And I was like, where did all of these people come from? And why did they all move here? And it kind of put me in a mindset of the population that they have over in Dearborn, here in Metro Detroit, right? Because there's a huge population of Arab Americans or Arab people over in Dearborn. It's actually the largest population of Arabs in the United States of America, and they've completely taken over Dearborn. They just like black people. But let's continue.
Violators of these bans will be arrested, but they will be given the option to accept treatment and services if they're willing to be rehabilitated. Many of them don't want that, but we'll give them the option. We will then open up large parcels of inexpensive land, bring in doctors, psychiatrists, social workers, and drug rehab specialists and create 10 cities where the homeless can be relocated and their problems identified. But we'll open up our cities again, make them livable and make them beautiful. For those who are just temporarily down on their luck, we will work to help them quickly reintegrate into a normal life. For those who have addictions, substance abuse, and common mental health problems, we will get them into treatment. And for those who are severely mentally ill and deeply disturbed, we will bring them back to mental institutions where they belong.
Hey, Trump he don't cut no words, right? He just be like, yo, for the people that got mental issues, you need to be in a mental institution and we gonna get you some treatment. If you just over here harassing people and got needles all over the sidewalk, we're gonna arrest you, but we gonna give you the option to do the right thing and get the treatment so we can get you rehabilitated and integrated into society. If you down on your luck, we gonna give you some options to be able to take care of that too. I'd be interested because this is only a small clip of him going into a more detailed plan of what this looks like, and more importantly, how we're going to fund it. Because I don't think that you can just fund something by taking money away from what it is that you're spending money on egregiously anyway, such as what it is that we got going on with the Ukraine war. And more importantly, I also am under the impression that this whole war in Ukraine is not entirely based off of, Ukraine defending Russia. I believe that it's multiple different countries weakening and fighting Russia and the alliance that Russia has through Ukraine, understanding that we don't want it to touch American soil. And then there's another financial component that goes along with it, but neither here nor there. Let's continue.
With the goal of reintegrating them back into society once they are well enough to manage. It's a tough task, a very tough task. What's taken place on the streets, what's taken place with their taking so much drugs. But the fact is, we're going to try. This strategy will be far better and also far less expensive than spending vast sums of taxpayer money to house the homeless in luxury hotels without addressing their underlying issues. And they have so many of these underlying issues and needs.
I agree with that part because a lot of people like to address homelessness by saying, let me tell you a couple different ways that society likes to put a Band-Aid over the whole homelessness issue. What they like to do is they say, we're going to create affordable housing. And for any new development that gets built, we have to allocate a specific percentage of that housing over into people that have lower incomes. And we have to build more housing that is now available to homeless people in Section 8. Well, that does not solve the problem, first and foremost. Secondly, the federal government is not in the real estate business. They're in the business of making money from the taxes that come along with the properties, which then helps to fund your schools and so on and so forth. So if you create an environment in which you're just housing a bunch of homeless people, but you don't attack the true core of why they're homeless in the first place, which is a multi-layered issue, right? You have drugs that's being able to come into the country without any kind of problem. You have allegedly the federal government that is participating in the drug trade. That is then fostering and building a system in which you're incentivizing your community to then hire more police because it is largely funded by the drug trade and the whole idea of civil forfeiture, in which they can take money from drug people or drug dealers or different people that did things illegally, and then they can sell it and then fund what it is that they're doing in the department, which then expands the department and the resources that the police department then has in order to deploy into your communities, such as what's going on in New York, right? They just bought a $750,000. They got a budget, $750,000 for their robot dogs, right? But the robot dogs are largely the money that he says that he's using to pay for it. The mayor said that it's coming from civil forfeiture and drug money. So you're using drug money in order to form or build up your war chest that you use in order to continue to police the communities, which is a cyclical issue that we have in the first place because one can't exist without the other. So the core issue of how homelessness, which again, it's an onion, it's multi-layered, and you got to peel back that onion to get to the core issue. You got inflation, you got, a lack of jobs in certain core areas and communities. If you ever want to fix a community, you have to do two things. You have to get really good public transportation. You have to tamp down inflation, which is not the second thing, but that's like 1A or 1B. And the third thing that you have to have is great schools. But the great schools come from being able to fund phenomenal teachers. And teachers are starting to walk away because we live in a society where we're having teachers become overglorified babysitters, and they're not actually teaching the kids anything because there is no real parents at home. And we live in a society where it's become so liberal that these schools are becoming indoctrination camps. So it's just so much, man. It's so much that's to it, that's more than just getting people off the street, mental health services or whatever. You got to have people to have opportunities. They got to see a pathway to success in order to even be able to coach somebody out of a dark space and depression and get them out of that space in the first place. You got to be able to help them to be able to see a long-term vision for their life. A lot of times they have issues with regard to their parenting and a trauma from their background. We pass on generational curses. I'm not running for office. I'm just telling you that it's a multi-layered issue. And my life experiences between A, being able to run up the bag, B, where I was born from, C, coaching people, and then D, volunteering and participating in communities have given me a well-rounded perspective of how it is that you really facing issues inside of your society. And not one thing is going to solve the problem. It has to be a multi-layered, leveled approach to fixing a lot of these issues that we see in society. Can't just throw money at the issue. It's got to be true understanding. That's why the Bible's saying everything that you do, get understanding, because then you'll be able to know exactly how it is that you can solve for and approach a problem. But shout out to Trump, right? Shout out to Trump. And the reason why I'm giving a shout out to Trump is because there is no other politician that's even acknowledging or coming up with any solution as to talk about why we need to solve for homelessness in the first place in the United States of America. Let me read these super chats and then we're going to continue with the show. Xavier M is in the building. Shout out to you for the 20 ball. I appreciate you. Elliot Jackson said, what up, though? One question. Do you believe it's better to rent a personal residence when you are a business owner to be able to move and take advantage of the opportunity? Let me read that one more time. Do you believe it's better to rent a personal residence when you are a business owner to be able move and take advantage of opportunity? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. I think that when you spend money, it always needs to be looked at from a business perspective to where A, does it add more value into your life long-term financially, and B, can you write it off from a business perspective? If you're not utilizing the money that you spending, whether it be on an office, a residence, or whatever, and I got this wild thing in my mind where I think that they need to turn the majority of these office buildings in all of these different cities into residences, but that's a whole nother conversation. I think that there's always going to be opportunity wherever you are. The real answer to your question is, how can you lower your personal expenses so that you can then deploy your resources in order to continue to grow your assets? That's really the answer to your question. Everything that you do, it needs to be based off of adding value and growing your assets, lowering your personal expenses, growing your assets. So reinvesting into yourself personally, that can be an investment. Continuing to deploy your resources so that you can make more money with regard to real estate, investing in certain things long term as far as different stocks and things like that. All of that grows your assets. Anything that you have to spend money on that does not add value into your life that you have to use to survive, that's an issue. All right. So that's the biggest thing. All right. AP313 is in the building, says, remember the Super Bowl here in Detroit? They slapped the homeless on cash and the hotels temporarily. I remember. I was talking to Kwame about that the other day. Greatness to Work says, one of the saddest things I've seen traveling to Seattle, right across from Seahawks Stadium, and also Microsoft, is a bunch of homeless camps. They everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. Shout out to B, says that sounds expensive. Everything, any solution that you're trying to find for the community is going to be expensive. Everything is going to be expensive. It's more expensive to house a bunch of people that you can't actually help too. So shout out to y'all for all of the super chats. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for holding me down. Let's continue into the show. I wanted to address this yesterday. But I put it on the back burner for today. Now, Margaret Cho. All right. Margaret Cho. A lot of y'all probably don't even know who Margaret Cho is. Margaret Cho is promoting her new Disney movie called Prom Pact. All right. Margaret Cho is a comedian that's been around for a long time. And Margaret Cho is promoting their new Disney movie called Prom Pact. Now, how is this relevant to us as bag chasers? How is this relevant to us with regard to our culture? How is this relevant to us with regard to the society in which we're raising our kids in? Well, when she was being interviewed by ET Times, which is a huge platform, they asked her about Disney protagonists and the alphabet community. I'm going to try to scrub through this interview really quickly to get to the core of it. Or maybe I should just let it play. It's not actually that long. Let me bring you in.
Hello, Margaret Cho. I'm Karen Pereira from Times of India. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you were one of the comedy greats. What drew you to come on board and play the role of Miss Chen in Prom Pact?
Well, I love Peyton. Peyton is such a star. She's just amazing. And we had done Doogie last year in Hawaii. And so I was really excited to work with her again. I love a coming of age story, especially one that really puts an Asian American woman at the center of it, and
so let's stop there. That puts an Asian American woman at the center of it. This tells you, A, that they think just like you. Oh, y'all thought that black people was the only ones? When it comes to cultural wars, and when it comes to this whole diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation, they have the same conversations that you have. It just doesn't necessarily pop up on your algorithm because that's not what you're interested in watching. A lot of people would have never watched this Margaret Cho interview, right? But when you sent it to me, I seen it, and I said, you know what? This will be an interesting conversation to have with the people, right? Let's continue.
And this is a very important step in realizing diversity. I play a queer character.
This is a very important step in realizing diversity. She plays what did you play again? Let me go ahead and rewind that for the people in the back, just to make sure that we all on the same page.
I play a queer character in the film who's really somebody that they look up to, which I think is really amazing.
So Disney continues to go on this crusade by promoting and putting into the atmosphere these movies that they know that your children are going to watch. If you've ever went over to the Disney Plus app, in which I'm no longer subscribed to the Disney Plus app, have not been for months now. If you go over to the Disney Plus app, it's geared towards kids. And Disney is now promoting a new movie worldwide that they are making available called Prom Pact. And among other movies, if you look at all of the subtle hints, if you look inside of the Thor movie, if you look inside of a lot of these major Marvel movies, they're continuing to push the agenda. Let's continue.
I love the script, and we just had such a great time making it. I'm a child of the 80s, so it was really great to see it come back in a way. Also, the film itself is like a really great homage to those great coming of age films of the 80s, but with a feminist kind of diverse cast, a very like a different.
Look at the key terms: feminists, woke, diversity, Asian, trans, queer. These are all of the key terms that she's used in less than a minute and a half into this conversation in order to continue to push an agenda. This is what your kids are going to be watching when they go and select a movie, that you're not sitting with them because you don't even know that the character is going to be that's subtly being appeared and pushing and programming them in order to see things a little bit differently. It's the truth. She's saying it out of her own mouth. I don't have to put any words in her mouth. This is what Disney is doing.
Different point of view, but also the same feelings come up. I loved it.
So you had such a memorable character as Miss Cho, although it was too little for me. Like, I just want to see more of you and your quirks on screen. Can you share with us some of your best memory, or if there was a teacher who inspired this role?
I don't know if I had a teacher that necessarily inspired that role, but I think it's more just like that generation that really knows and wants the best for you, and really is also behind the scenes rooting for you, taking care of business. So for me, it was something that I was really more like looking to aunties in my life, and like everybody who was there kind of on the sidelines supporting me, especially the queer parts of my family. And I grew up in the queer community. So that for me was a real homage to this character.
Now, it gets worse. It gets worse, okay? But let's stop there. Think about this. She never named anybody, any male, strong, dominant person that has influenced her life. And I'm assuming because none ever existed. And so what's happening is, not just within the Black community, but all cultures and communities, this agenda is being passed through and passed down generation to generation and generation, in which now, when they become the movers and the shakers, they're going to be the ones that's pushing what their lifestyle is onto other people, instead of just entertaining and having a good conversation, right? Or having a good acting career or whatever. It's more than that. There's an agenda. There's always going to continue to be an agenda that's being pushed based off of how you were raised, how you see things, and what your lifestyle is. But let's continue.
You might just be the first, Miss Cho might just be the first character in a full-fledged Disney movie. So if I got that right, yeah?
I think so. I love that. I think that's really, but it's really very real. I think it's really something that is important to recognize. We are everywhere, in society. And so this is just like another example of that. And I think we belong.
Do you think it's time for a Disney film to feature an LGBTQ lead character? And if yes, which one would you want to see it in?
I absolutely yes. And I would love to see everywhere. I would love to see trans characters. I would love to see different types of people in the roles of like Disney princess, Disney prince, Disney everything. I think this would be really important. And it's a move towards the future. It's a move towards who we are. I think it's really admirable and really exciting.
Need I say more? Is there anything left for me to be able to break down, or do you not see it for yourself? Need I say more, or do I need to break it down for myself? Let me give it to you this way. Let me also add some additional context into this conversation. Thank you for the super chat. I'm definitely going to be reading that shortly. Let me add this into the conversation, all right? A, this is getting very tiresome. B, one of the things that's happening in society from both the Asian communities and the Indian communities is that most companies have experienced a cap on their growth that they can have because their markets are fully mature in the United States and in Europe and in Canada or whatever, right? And so what they're trying to do in order to continue to satisfy shareholders and grow the bag and also push an agenda, they're moving into other communities. Now, one of the things that we do know is that the Asian community is huge, and it is a market that still has some legs as far as where you can run from a financial perspective from these large organizations. The other conversation is, look at what's happening on this conversation right now. You see an Asian woman and you see an Indian woman. Let me say it again. You see an Asian woman and you see an Indian woman, okay? It's the two markets that Disney is trying to push the hardest into. Apple literally just opened up a new store, and he's having conversations with the prime minister over there in India in order to try to push and expand into and have a manufacturing base because it's now becoming too competitive and too much of an issue to manufacture what it is that they got going on over in China. Apple's trying to move over in India, right? You have the two cultures, and if you think that this is a mistake, it's not a mistake. There's two different cultures that's having a conversation right here, right now on your TV screen that is pushing a narrative and pushing an agenda that helps you to move into this agenda because they know that you're not going to do nothing about it. You're not going to stop watching Disney Plus. You're not going to not go to the Marvel movies. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to remove your children from school because you don't have the capacity to be able to do so. You're not going to protest over this. I just looked at a video of Dr. Umar Johnson specifically said that the black woman from Black Lives Matters tried to stop his whole organization, and those are the people that he pandered to the most. They both Asian? Oh, my bad. Okay. My bad. I didn't know. I need to become more culturally get more cultural insight. That's why I'm going to be traveling the world. But my point is that it's going to get worse before it gets better. At this point, we are at a space to where we're going to have to divest from certain things that's happening within the media by aligning ourselves a little bit more closely in packs. You can't save anybody. You can't save the community. I don't believe that America can be saved. I think that America is going to continue to be overrun, especially if Trump don't get in office or you don't get some other hardline conservative in office that stands up for us. And everything is going down south. Everything is going down the drain. So, yep, that's what's happening. That's what's popping. Shout out to Margaret Show. I don't really fuck with her, but neither here nor there. So, let me address this super chat really quickly. Shout out to Bahiuddin. Bahiuddin. Now, I will say I'm probably not going to remember that tomorrow. But the name is Bahiuddin. Bahiuddin. All right? Bahiuddin. Thank you, Bahiuddin, for clearing that up for me. Let me leave you with this because I have some other things that I wanted to address, but let me see something. Yeah, let's get to the money. I got a little bit of time, so let's get to the money, ladies and gentlemen. I just recently got back from Vegas, and I seen this pop up on my timeline, and it's specifically talking about the problem with U.S. vacations, but it's specifically speaking, I believe, to your ability to be able to get off of work. So let's have some fun. Let's talk about the money. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
The United States is the only advanced economy that does not guarantee paid time off.
We have no federal law saying that you have to provide a certain number of vacation days. And you have entire cultures like, France is a good example where pretty much everybody takes August off and it's just part of the culture. You don't really see that here in the United States.
So when I came to France and I noticed that vacation is a way of life, people are constantly talking about their vacations. August 15th is actually considered the emptiest day in Paris.
Europeans in general will say, you Americans live to work, we Europeans work to live.
So this is a cultural thing, right? And that they're saying that Europeans say that Americans live to work, but they work to live. Americans live to work, but they work to live. They say that August 15th is actually the emptiest day in Paris. Maybe I should be going to Paris, France, on August 15th. Actually, I think I'm going to be in Tokyo. I'm going to be in Japan in August, middle of August, late August. I'm going to be in Tokyo, Japan. Shout out to my Japanese. I might have to brush up on my Japanese. I'm thinking about going over to Montreal instead of hitting Toronto for my daughter's, what is that, spring break, Memorial Day weekend, something like that. My daughter is going to be going somewhere in order to go to her taekwondo stuff, so I'm thinking about hitting a different place, like Montreal or Vancouver or some place that I've never been before. But let's continue.
Even though a majority of Americans do have some kind of paid time off, a little less than half actually take all of their available vacation time.
On average, 4 days a year per individual being left on the table as it relates to vacation days.
Something I noticed in America, we have vacation days, but do people actually go on vacation?
There's a certain fear. We don't have any legal protections. And so people have been fired for taking vacation time.
I'm a workaholic by my very nature, right? One of the things that I used to struggle with early on in my career was I didn't want to leave because I was afraid that people would think I wasn't needed. I was going to lose the air of indispensability, is what they call it, right? And in reality, that doesn't happen.
More workers taking a vacation can help the overall economy. If Americans used the nearly 770 million abandoned vacation days to travel in 2019, it could have injected more than $150 billion into the U.S. economy and created 2 million American jobs.
Paid vacations increase productivity, they increase employee well-being. It's also not rocket science. I think most of the evidence suggests that it more than pays for itself.
So why?
So here's the thing, though, about vacations, though. Vacations were used to incentivize and recruit workers to come to work at other companies. It's not something that workers were initially entitled to. Essentially, you have to think about it from the perspective of a business owner, right? If you are a business owner, then you get paid based off of the value that you contribute for that day, that week, that month, and so on and so forth. If you don't work, you don't eat. Think about a lot of these... Think about your local Chinese restaurant, right? And at your local Chinese restaurant, they work all year long, right? And then what they do is they take like a month off and they go to like whatever their homeland is, or they go and visit family or whatever. But they prepare for it. They work, they save, they stack, and then they, prepare to go on vacation. They shut the whole store down, or they shut the whole restaurant down for the entire month that they wind up finding themselves in their mainland, whether they go to China or whatever it is, right? And the thing about it is that they don't make money during that time. The problem is that we think that we're supposed to get paid even when we're not participating, when in reality, vacation was supposed to be for incentivizing people to come and work at a company versus going to work at their competitor. So it's just like having a benefit, right? Hey, you get paid time off. You get a masseuse over there. Y'all get, ESPP, employee stock purchase plans, and so on and so forth, right? But if everybody operated like an individual contractor instead of a W-2 employee, shout out to Jeremy Hampton. I'm going to read your super chat shortly. And Charles, I appreciate you. If everybody operated like an individual contractor, you would operate differently and you would think about how vacation is used. It's not that people can't take vacation, is that people don't understand the concept behind what your time is really worth and what the value is in taking time off. But let's continue.
Aren't Americans going on vacation? And what can we learn from our European counterparts in France? Europe has taken a different policy approach to paid vacation time than the US.
Hi, my name is Fatima, and I'm an American that has been living in Paris for about 6 or 7 years now. In France, you find less of that, hustle culture mentality, but it does exist. I think there's this stereotype that the French are not like hard workers, but in actuality, you're gonna find people or industries where it's expected that they stay in late. It's expected that they work on the weekend.
In the European Union, the floor is 20 days of paid vacation. That's on top of other sorts of paid leave, like paid sick leave, paid new parent leave. That's
Isn't that why everything is all fucked up over there and the currency is all messed up and everybody wants to have tea time? Am I saying the right location? Everybody wants to have tea time. Don't worry, y'all. I'm about to become more culturally well-versed because I'm going to be traveling now that we have this whole COVID situation under control. I'm gonna be going to more countries and different countries in order to truly, but I'm not just gonna go to visit, right? One of the things that my wife and I had made the determination of, shout out to the super chats, I'm gonna read them shortly. One of the things that my wife and I had made the determination of is that we were going to live in the environments that we go and visit for an extended period of time once my daughter got to a certain age. And that allows us to be able to become culturally investing in what it is that they got going on so we can better understand what their culture is, right? And so I plan on doing a lot more traveling, but I'm not impressed with the French per se.
Sort of thing. And here we have basically nothing.
France provides a minimum of 30 paid vacation days per year. There are also many European countries that have paid holidays, which pushes them past France for most paid days off total. The reason EU workers have these vacation benefits is regulation. The European Union Working Time Directive, which was passed in the early 1990s, requires at least 20 working days of paid vacation in all EU countries. France has gone as far as implementing right to disconnect laws, which regulate after-hour contact between employers and workers in an attempt to protect workers' right to rest.
I think the reason why French people take their vacations is because there are really, really strong workers' rights and workers' protections through, the contracts that are set in stone.
France prioritizes leisure time so much that the country established a public agency called the National Agency for Holiday Vouchers, which helps people who may not have the funds to go on vacation.
So everyone knows France is, on vacation in August, which means that come September 1st, that's when everyone returns. And so in France, they have this thing called la rentrée, which basically means everything's back in session. Businesses close for a couple weeks. I'm talking about your local boulangerie, some restaurants, some stores. It really does range. Some offices even say, okay, we're closed for, a week or two. So our employees must take their vacation at this time as well.
That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me. Because the only way that I would see that a business closing at a particular time is because there is no business to be done at that specific location, right? So it's almost like you don't open up for breakfast or you don't open up for lunch until 11 o'clock, 10 or 11 o'clock, because you know that nobody goes on lunch in a downtown area until that time. But just to close for that entire time, well, where I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be in France or anywhere in Europe during August because ain't nothing going to be open. That's crazy to me.
I do not think that the fact that these businesses or stores close actually affects the quality of life. Because at the end of the day, in France, it's really about this idea of working to live, not living to work.
The U.S. is...
I don't understand that, man. I genuinely don't, right? I believe in being able to buy your time back. I don't believe that anybody has ever owed me anything. And maybe that's just what made me a hustler, a grinder, a businessman, a person that get it. Every person that I know that's made a significant amount of money, they dedicate time to their craft and their resources. And they don't just be out here on vacation and stuff. Every day that I was in Vegas, I enjoyed Vegas. But I would have went crazy if I didn't have an opportunity to be able to talk to y'all in the morning. Y'all are my tribe. Y'all are my people. Y'all my people. We didn't miss just because we were on a flight. We didn't not drop videos. The Lapeef Network did not stream. We don't miss streams. We don't miss drops on a Millionaire Morning Show. The people need this game in order for us to continue to rock out and take care of business. Now, when we get done taking care of business, we go out, we party, we have a good time, we network, we drink, we do all of these things, and then we responsibly get up. And then on the weekends, maybe on Sunday, we have family day. Saturday, we go and explore a little bit more. We y'all gonna see it on the upcoming vlog. We went and took out the car and we drove out to the desert and stuff. You can do two things at the same time. I don't understand that.
Is quite unique. We have no federal law saying that you have to provide, a certain number of vacation days. We have no state laws that say you have to provide a certain number of vacation days to your employees. It doesn't mean that nobody gets paid vacation. It just means that it's up to the employer and the worker.
Nearly 80% of full-time private sector workers in the U.S. have access to some sort of paid time off for leisure. But when you dig into those numbers, there's a huge disparity about which Americans actually get it. Only 43% of leisure and hospitality workers have paid vacation time, while more than 90% of those in sectors such as manufacturing, financial activities, and information services do. Even if the U.S. did mandate paid vacation time for workers, cultural attitudes may prevent people from actually using it.
Good. Get your ass to work and go and get that bag. Get your ass to work and go and get that bag. I'm not about to pay you. Dog. Okay, look, how about this? I got a solution. I have a solution. How about I don't pay you and you can have as many vacation days as you want? When you don't want to work, you don't have to show up. I'm not tripping. We'll keep a rotation of other people to be able to replace you and add value, right? If you don't want to work, and this is one of the reasons why I like capitalism. I don't like socialism. I like capitalism because capitalism allows for if done right, because it is some bad forms of capitalism. Capitalism, if done right, allows for true growth in the economy because it's going to be based off of a true exchange and need from the people. You can go on as many vacations if you want, but I'm not paying you for it. You can listen, you're going to have to be a valuable motherfucker for me to be able to give you paid time off. We don't do that over here. I say, listen, conversely, now here's the difference. You can get paid time off, but you got to be there, right? The other side of the equation is the people that work for me, I say, I don't give a fuck what you do. You just make sure that you over deliver when it comes to your job. So for example, I got an editor and I probably see that motherfucker once every two weeks. Once every 2 weeks. I don't need to talk to him. I don't need to text him. He just deliver. And day in, day out. No problems, no issues. Uploads on time. Take care of business. Am I monitoring the amount of time that he's putting into his edits? No. Am I monitoring if he's able to edit much faster or quicker? Absolutely not. I don't care what he do. I don't care where he work from. I don't care if he come into the office. I don't care if he work from home. I don't want to hear I don't care if you edited in a completely different country and you having a great time. Congratulations. Just get the work done. If you figure out how to cut 8 hours worth of work down into 4 hours or to 2 hours and you effective in what it is that you've done, make sure that we had that work done. We don't need to babysit. We don't babysit over here what we do. Do your job, take care of your business, and do whatever the fuck you want to do. Just make sure that you deliver so that this person over here is not slowed down by your lack of ability to be able to take care of it. I'm not about to sit here and try to figure out somebody to fill in and all of this other type of stuff. Y'all can have that shit. We don't do PTO over here. Now, if a job just happened to give it to me because, yeah, that's a part of the negotiation or the package or whatever, so on and so forth, I don't care. But as long as you take care of your business and you do your job, if it take you 1 hour or 10 hours, do your job and you can do whatever the fuck you want to do after that. I guarantee you that your paycheck is always going to be there. I don't micromanage. I don't babysit. I don't try to figure out what people is doing. I'm not trying to figure out how I can add more stuff to your plate. We gonna have a once every 2 week check-in. Hey fam, is everything good? You need anything from me? Your equipment good? You need some more access? Do we need to expand? Are you filling up all of your one? Whatever it is, right? But I'm not about to babysit anybody. Take care of your business. I'm gonna make sure that you paid your salary. And I might, throw you a couple bonuses here and there. Hit me up if you need to go over to the Pistons game. I got some tickets for you. Just take care of your business. Do your job. That's it. That's all that's to it. I don't understand all of this worker protection stuff. Man, do your job.
46% of U.S. workers say they don't use all of their time off. Nearly half of those employees worry they might fall behind on their work if they take time off, with nearly 20% thinking it could hurt their career growth and 16% saying they fear losing their job. And more than 40% of workers say they feel badly about their colleagues taking on their workload if they were to take time off.
I think in the US, there's this idea that you have to basically fight for your job. Even if you've been in that job for like 5-10 years, you're constantly fighting for your place. You're constantly fighting for your right to stay there.
Some Americans also can't afford to take a trip, especially amid rising costs across the board.
Your fault. Your fault. When I was on my flight back home last night or yesterday evening or afternoon, I was watching the NBA game. I was watching the Lakers versus the Grizzlies. It was on the TV, on the back of the seat, on the Delta flight. I was working on my computer. The video that dropped this morning, I had went over it because I was able to have internet access to see what my guy had uploaded and stuff like that. I was preparing myself for my meetings and everything like that. Meal service came around, right? We did our meal service. We had a good time. Me and Rita was sitting there next to each other. I pulled my computer out. I got back to it. Dropped my stuff off at the office on my way over to the crib. I worked on the plane so that when I got home, I didn't have to worry about nothing. Everything was taken care of. It was set up for the day. I had everything aligned. I know that when I get home or when I got home and today and tomorrow, it's going to be hustle time. And then on Saturday, I got to take a flight over to the Dominican Republic with my family. I'm working. I don't miss. We don't mess up. We don't trip. Call me if you need me.
Due to inflation, 56% of U.S. adults said they didn't think they could afford to take vacation last year because of inflation. One in three decided to scale back their vacation instead of skipping it altogether, and the average respondent's budget was around $1,200. More than 35%.
You should have watched the Patreon video that I dropped inside that shows you exactly how it is that I'm leveraging my position to make more money. You should have watched the Patreon video. Shout out to my bag chasers.
None of the American workforce are freelancers, which means if they take vacation, it's on their dime. Freelancers struggle with work-life balance, with 92% saying...
Call it the gig economy. If you're an Uber driver, you DoorDash, you don't work, you don't eat.
They feel pressure to work on vacation. The flexibility of picking their own hours and remote work may counteract the low vacation time.
Dame says, how the construction guy gonna do that? It's not my fucking problem. He chose construction. You build shit. If you decide that you don't want to do construction, you want to go into another field, you have a choice to do that. Nobody made you choose construction. Why do y'all think that everything got to be exactly equal across the board? I went to school. I decided that I wanted to study. You decided that you wanted to do construction. Do construction. He opened up a restaurant. The Chinese people opened up a restaurant. You decided that you wanted to work in a plant because you wanted to have that union protection. I didn't want no protection. I didn't want no safety net. What do I care about what your job? That's your job. Do your job. You sounding privileged. Nah, you just sounding weak. Bro, I rock with you, but you sounding privileged. That's what happens when you work your ass off. You can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You take care of business. When I was in a plant, we worked and we did our 16 hours and we took care of our fucking business if we wanted to get paid $120,000 a year. If we didn't and we only wanted to make $50,000 to $60,000 a year, then we worked our 8 hours and we went home. Nobody owed me nothing. Nobody gave me nothing. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. There ain't nobody making you stay at that job. Go get another job. Go to school. Go do something else then. Stop whining. Stop complaining. You sounding privileged. You sounding broke. So now we even. You sounding privileged. You sounding broke. You sounding like you running in the Victim Olympics. Shout out to you and Sha'Carri Richardson. No, you sounding privileged. You don't know me to tell me. Well, but you know me though, right? You said I'm sounding privileged and I'm reading you sounding broke. So I guess neither one of us know each other. So maybe you should I stop sounding a certain type of way so I can say you stop looking like you're running in the Victim Olympics. Don't get offended because I'm addressing your text because I read the chat. See, I'm looking at this on an 85-inch TV. I don't give a fuck about y'all feelings. For those of you that are new here, let me bring you into the fold, okay? I don't give a fuck about if your boss work you until you die. I don't care about if you can feed your children. You had them. I don't care if your boss don't like you. Your fault. Either find another job or go to work and continue to do what the fuck he told you to do. I don't care about what your life is because you chose to live it. Stop running in the Victim Olympics talking about anybody sounds privileged. It doesn't make your situation any better. If you don't like your circumstances and you live in the United States of America, you have the freedom to go and choose another career path or go and live homeless and join a homeless camp. I don't care. The reality is this. Society and nobody cares about your feelings. We only care about the results. We don't care about running in the Victim Olympics over here. The only thing that we do is we process information in order to make a more informed decision and to give you what you need in order to be successful. You don't deserve this watch if you can't buy it. It cost me about $40,000. Get you an Apple Watch. And no, don't get an Apple Watch Ultra. Get you an Apple Watch, just an Apple Watch. You don't even deserve an Apple Watch. Get you a Casio. Get you a Timex. Nobody cares about your feelings. For whatever reason, y'all think y'all owed something. Y'all think y'all supposed to be given something. The only thing that you're supposed to be promised in this country is an opportunity to do something different. You have it. Now, whatever your life turns out like, that's on you. It's yours. Own that shit. Stop whining. Stop complaining. I'm tired of seeing grown men use the word privilege. It's two words that grown men should not be using when they're referring to themselves or another man. Privileged and triggered. Privileged and triggered. Stop using the word to refer to somebody else in order to make yourself feel better about your circumstances or your lack thereof by using the word privilege. Oh, they privileged. No, they not. They just better than you. They just work harder than you. They go and get it. They don't fumble opportunities. 80% of millionaires in the United States are new millionaires. They come from fucking nothing. They grind. They do what they do. Let me say another thing. I see Wowzers with the W. He said, unsubscribed. We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. Do you think my subscribers goes down? Not 1 month over month have my subscribers ever go down. We don't give a fuck. For every one person that I separate myself from because I don't want to be around these broke motherfuckers that talk this weak shit, I find 10 more that want to rock out and they actually looking to do the work. I'm not trying to be everybody's friend. I'm not interested in everybody coming over to the platform. I'm looking to find a group of people that's looking to grind, hustle, and go and get that shit. I speak to them. I don't speak to you. I don't bow down to no fucking avatar on the internet that's sitting in his mom's basement not getting no money. The fuck I give a fuck about you for? And why you announcing it? Just get the fuck out of here. Get out. Do it. Just do it. You ain't gotta threaten us with it. Just hit us with it. Show us how tough you are. Show us how tough you are. Bye. Adios. Grown men whining in a fucking chat with no picture, no context, no nothing. Grown men. Y'all got grown men whining in the chat, arguing with me about the potential to be able to work and talking about the word privilege and triggered. I'm triggered. No, you're not triggered. You're a part of the alphabet community. That's what you are. How about that? You want some acknowledgement? You want me to acknowledge your pain? You want me to acknowledge your reparations? You want me to acknowledge slavery too? What else y'all want from me? Huh? What else you want from me? Let me get this off my fucking screen. What else you want from me? Come on, you wanted to talk. What else you want from me now? Huh? What else? You want me to acknowledge that your mama was jumping on your bed when you was asleep last night? That her boyfriend was always in her room fucking on her, waking you up because you couldn't go to school tomorrow? What else you want? What else you want? Oh, your daddy didn't like you. Fuck him. Fuck him. You want me to make you feel better about yourself? But Anton, man, so what? Learn from it. Move on. You grown. You grown. Grow up. At the end of this stream, when I get done saying what it is that I'm going to say, you know what still is going to be, you know what still happens? I'm still going to be rich, and you still going to be trying to figure this shit out, living paycheck to paycheck, because you want to run in the Victim Olympics, and you've not taken ownership and responsibility for where you are in life. Anytime I hear somebody say privilege, I know that you are not taking ownership and responsibility for where you are in your life. You so busy worried about getting some validation from somebody else, as though that's going to change your situation and you're going to be living any different than your paycheck to paycheck life that you're living right now. Oh, you want me to acknowledge you? You want me to make you feel better? Want me to give you a hanky? Want me to kiss your boo-boo? Stupid. So tired of these grown men. It's always grown men that be whining. I'm leaving. So what? Okay. Now what? The bag is still going up. We're still doing what we're doing. We're still going to run that check up. Let me read these super chats and get it popping. Jeremy Hampton says, shout out to Jeremy Hampton with the 50 ball. I appreciate you running the check up. My dog, Jeremy Hampton, one of the people that has continued to become more successful as a result of our coaching sessions. Hey, hold on. Before we read the rest of these super chats, somebody is right. They said y'all come here and want Anton to go off on y'all. That is true, and I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of people crave discipline. They crave discipline because they never got it as a result from their father. And so what they do is they continue to need that. And so they come after you, or they come and they try to get attention, and they try to separate themselves from the class. And it's not that they're a bad student. It's that they're looking for attention because they never got it at home. And so when I finally tell them, listen, fuck your feelings. Your daddy was dumb. Your mama was for the streets. Stop being a little weak one. Grow the fuck up or whatever. Then they get it. They just need a little bit of love. They just need a little bit of love. You know what I'm saying? Charles Keys Sr. says, going to Italy on a slow boat. Shout out to Charles Keys in the building. LLC is in the building, says, that's nothing, Anton. Did you see the SNL with the white-born female comedian who now identifies as non-binary pushing gender surgery for LGBT? No, send me that article. I'm interested in seeing that so I can break that down. See if that's something we need to talk about on the morning show. Persevere Data TV with the 20 ball says, if you work remote, just go work from your destination. Most cases, you don't even have to use PTO. Facts. Facts. Hey, don't listen to Ray Meester, y'all. Ray Meester been saying the same thing for about 2 years now. Ray Meester then came up on the panel. He's still in the chat typing hard. Ray been here since the Millionaire Morning Show's inception. And the motherfucker is still threatening to leave. We don't believe anything that Ray Meester says. We know what Ray Meester looks like. We know Ray is not even in the United States of America. But Ray be having conversations about what should be going on in the USA. Ray ain't going nowhere. Ray gonna be right there looking on here, trying to understand how it is that he can make some different decisions. Still typing hard in the chat about how he disagree with me about every single thing that I say. He gonna be right there fucking in the chat with that green avatar talking about what he gonna do. Oh, it's sarcasm. All right, Ray, I feel you. My bad. I'm like, Ray ain't going nowhere. I don't even know what you're talking about. Ray gonna be right there doing what it is that he do, typing hard in the chat, talking about how he disagree with me. The Service USA says, we'll be in Hong Kong and mainland China for business in August. Be on the lookout for a few of my project items to arrive in your P.O. box. Shout out to the Service USA holding me down. Shout out to the Service USA holding me down. I appreciate you. Let me read a few more super chats. Swim with 2 M's says AI intelligence and machine or software development. I would say cybersecurity above them all. I think you should go into cybersecurity. Oh, Ray, you did win $100. I forgot about that when I was doing a giveaway. I would say go into software, cybersecurity, Swim. I think that cybersecurity is probably the most stable and the biggest opportunity financially for you right now for anybody that's looking to be career driven and work for the man. Ken Zam says, Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, Anton. Keep doing the right thing and spreading the good word and making clean money. It's so relieving to see another black man trying to live life the right way. May Allah guide you. I appreciate you. Laikum salam. Is that how I say it? Hopefully I'm respecting your culture. LLC say traditional jobs want 40 plus hours a week and butts in the seats. Jake Fever in the building says, hold on, bro. I drink Hennessy privilege now. Oh, shout out to Jake Fever. Ash is in the building with the fireball says, facts, AD, just pearly things is better than you. If you don't apply, let it fly. If you don't apply, let it fly. Project Game Plan says, got the game plan with the 2 hearts. I appreciate you for the Super Bowl. My dog Brock is in the building. Says, Pastor Love offering phenomenal show as usual, bro. Definitely the absolute greatest morning show ever. Thank you. You are very much appreciated. Thank you, Brock, and I appreciate you also. Tia Marie is in the building. Shout out to Tia. Tia says, Anton is literally the air these folks be punching at. Stop getting offended. Y'all need, and Tia is telling y'all this. Stop getting offended and focus on fixing what you're mad about yourself. What you're mad about at yourself, or what you're mad at about yourself. Shout out to Tia for letting them and giving them the reality check. Sir Mill says, appreciate the channel. How can I get a coaching session? Well, Sir Mill, I have put coaching sessions on pause for the next 2 months simply because I'm booked up like crazy. And so I'm spending the majority of my time focusing on the people that I already have a session for or I have reoccurring calls for, but I will be opening it up within the next month and a half to 2 months for people to be able to email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com in order to get a new coaching session. Great question. Marcus Alexander says, since one-on-one with you, my thoughts on the future are more focused. Big ups 1,000 times. Listen to that. Since my one-on-one with you, my thoughts on the future are more focused. Big ups times 1,000. Shout out to Marcus Alexander for showing me love and holding me down. I appreciate you. Also want to acknowledge that guy Quincy is in the building with a 20 ball. My guy Quincy says, yo, Anton, I finally at 35 landed my career job. I got tired of feeling stuck in life and applied myself. Now it's time to chase that bag and provide life I know I should have for my daughter and I don't see that guy Quincy. I don't see Quincy having any kind of excuses as to why he can't go and take care of his business. Yo, Quincy, how come you not running in the Victim Olympics, big dog? Quincy, they want you to acknowledge their pain. You said, no, forget all of that. I landed in my dream career. I'm about to take care of my daughter. I'm on my business. Now, Quincy, I would say that it's time to go to the next level, though, big dog. The question you should be asking yourself is, now that you've opened that door, is there really a ceiling for you? And how do you start looking at this from a business perspective? And how can you leverage this position in order to make more money? And how can you grow into corporate America? And are you starting to evaluate your time more effectively? Don't just settle for this, Quincy. It's time to go up. Congratulations. Shout out to Quincy in the building. Urban Renaissance Man is in the building. Says, Anton is the Batman Gotham deserves. Facts. I'm Batman of the internet in real life. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with us. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Please subscribe to the channel to make up for the person that decided that they wanted to leave. If you want to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, if, it's a strong if. It's an if-then statement. It's conditional, right? That's what God said. He said, everybody that say, Lord, Lord, I'm going to be like, depart from me. I never knew you. He says, if you do my will and keep my word, then you will have eternal life and I will call you my friend. JP the businessman is in the building. Shout out to JP the businessman. Says, I appreciate you, Anton, and the bag chasers that will be getting in the cybersecurity field through the military. Congratulations. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers too. I appreciate you, JP the military man, the business military man. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be rich and successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody that continues to rock out with me and tune into the Millionaire Morning Show. Tomorrow, I will be giving you guys an opportunity to come up here and say what you really think to my face. It's going to be a great show. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.